Welcome, folklore fanatics, to Top 10 Weirdest Mythological Creatures from Lesser-Known Cultures. We're not talking your basic dragons or vampires here. No, we're diving deep into the strangest, most bizarre beings you've never heard of. Get ready for a globe-trotting tour of creepy critters and quirky creatures that will leave you equal parts amazed and amused. From vampires that split in half to a demon that tickles you to death, our list has it all. Kicking off our countdown is the Manangal, a terrifying yet fascinating creature from Philippine folklore. By day, she might look like an ordinary woman, but by night, watch out. She literally detaches her upper body from her lower half, sprouts giant bat-like wings, and takes to the sky in search of prey. Yes, you heard that right. She leaves her legs at home and flies off to hunt. Talk about splitting up to cover more ground. Picture this. You're enjoying a peaceful evening, and suddenly a flying torso zooms overhead, entrails dangling and ready for a midnight snack. The Manananggal prefers to dine on unsuspecting sleepers, especially pregnant women, whose unborn children's hearts are her favorite delicacy. With a long tube-like tongue, she slurps up blood and organs like they're a strawberry milkshake. Yikes. It's the ultimate snack attack, and definitely not the pregnancy craving anyone expected. As gruesome as she is, you have to admit the Manananggal is resourceful. Who needs whole-body travel when you can literally lighten your load? She's basically the creepiest frequent flyer out there, and if you ever find half a body hiding in the bushes, here's a pro tip. Cover the lower half in salt or garlic. According to folklore, that prevents her from reattaching. No reunion means no survival. Talk about a salty end. So remember, folks, if a beautiful stranger invites you for a midnight stroll in rural Philippines, maybe check that she's all in one piece. Or you might end up on the menu. From the Philippines, we hop, or rather drop, over to the Australian outback for the Yarahoo, a name as weird as the creature itself. This little guy is basically a down-under vampire, but hold the capes and fangs, he's far stranger. Described as a small red man with an enormous mouth and no teeth, he prefers to lurk in fig trees. And instead of biting necks, he uses the suckers on his hands and feet to drain your blood like a human Capri Sun. Imagine strolling under a tree and bowing. A crimson critter pounces on you from above. The Yarahoo latches on like a hungry octopus, sapping your strength with those creepy suction cup digits. Once you're nice and weak, it swallows you whole, gulp, only to regurgitate you later. Gross. If you're thinking that's a terrible case of indigestion, it gets better, or worse. Each time this happens, legend says you come out, a little shorter and a little redder, slowly turning into one of them. It's like being recycled into a vampire frogman against your will. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Yarahoo style. We can't help but chuckle at how bizarre this is. No fangs, no claws, just a big gummy mouth and sticky hands. It's as if a tree frog in Dracula had a child and it became a prankster. One minute you're a tourist taking a nap under a fig tree. The next you're waking up slimed and shorter, wondering what the heck happened. The Yarahoo is definitely one of the oddest entries in the vampire genre. Proof that Australian wildlife isn't the only thing that'll drop on you out of nowhere. So, when in the bush, keep one eye on the branches above, or you might end up as this critter's next big regurgi treat. Ever seen a shooting star? How about a shooting fish? Coming in at number 8 is the Adaro from Solomon Islands folklore, an ocean spirit who takes fish out of water to a whole new level. An Adaro is described as a man-like being with gills behind its ears, a shark-like dorsal fin, and tail fins instead of legs. Basically, it's like someone started to build a person and said, needs more fish. But the real kicker, this wicked merman rides waterspouts and rainbows and attacks people with weaponized flying fish. That's right, the Adaro literally surfs tornadoes across rainbows and throws poisonous flying fish at its victims. Imagine you're a sailor enjoying a post-storm rainbow, when suddenly a scaly, horned humanoid zooms down that rainbow on a waterspout, like it's an escalator from heaven. Next thing you know, whoosh, you're dodging flying fish darts left and right. It's like a seafood buffet, where you're the target practice. And Adaro basically turns innocent fish into deadly flying fish. And trust us, that's not a Pokemon you want to battle. In Solomon Islands myth, an Adaro is said to be the malevolent half of a person's spirit, the evil leftovers that become a roaming fishman with a bad attitude. Talk about split personalities. It's bizarre, it's terrifying, but it's also a bit slapstick. I mean, death by flying fish? That's a headline for the ages. Next time you see a rainbow after a storm, maybe hold off on the "oh, so pretty" moment and check for mermen with projectile sardines. The Adaro proves that sometimes nature's weirdest weapons aren't claws or fangs. They're fishy friends launched at high speed. Holy mackerel! Behold the Kishi of Angola, a creature that defines two-faced better than any ex ever could. At first glance, a Kishi appears as a tall, attractive man with a winning smile. But don't let the good looks fool you. Behind that handsome face, literally on the back of his head, is the second face, a ravenous hyena with huge fangs. Talk about a bad hair day. The Kishi grows its hair long to hide the hyena head, so you won't notice the literal killer smile lurking behind. In Angolan folklore, this duplicitous demon uses its human face and smooth talk to lure victims, usually young women, out of their village. Picture Prince Charming offering to walk you home, how sweet, but the moment you're alone, surprise! He turns around and that hyena head comes out, laughing wickedly. With jaws powerful enough to crush bone in one bite, the Kishi's hyena half makes quick work of dinner. And by dinner, unfortunately, we mean the poor victim. It's a dating experience to die for, literally. You have to admire the strategy. Who needs Tinder when you've got a built-in bait and switch? The Kishi is essentially running the ultimate catfish, or should we say hyena fish scheme. It's hard not to be amused imagining a Kishi going through the trouble of brushing two sets of teeth, one for charm, one for chomp. Legend says this creature is strong, fast, and nearly invulnerable, though it does hate fire. So if your hot date literally turns into a wild animal, a tiki torch might come in handy. The Kishi takes dual personality to a whole new level and earns a solid spot on our weirdo meter. Next time someone seems too perfect, remember Angola's two-faced monster and maybe take a peek behind their head, just in case. After all, love can be blind, but you'd better hope it's not being eyed by a hungry hyena behind your back. Our number 6 is an Aztec oddball that's as tragic as it is terrifying. The Aquazot. Don't let the cute cries fool you. That's, not a baby in distress, but a monstrous water dog looking for its next victim. According to Aztec legend, the Aquazotl, pronounced Ahuezotul, lives at the bottom of deep lakes and ponds. It's about the size of a dog, with pointed ears, monkey-like, hands, and most famously a long tail with a human hand at the end. Yes, a hand tail! If you ever wished you had an extra hand, trust us, not like this. The Aquazotl uses devious tactics to snack on humans. It cries like a lost child to lure compassionate people to the water's edge. When a kind soul leans in, bam! The hand on the tail grabs them and drags them underwater. A few days later, the body floats back to the surface. But strangely, it's missing the eyes, teeth, and nails. Those are the only parts the Aquazotl eats, according to the myth. Talk about a picky eater. This beastie literally goes for the crunchy bits and leaves the rest. Perhaps it's on a low-flesh, high-fiber diet. Eyes do have a lot of vitamin A. Sorry. It's hard not to marvel at how weirdly specific this monster's habits are. Imagine being an Aztec fisherman hearing this tale. So boss, if I see A baby crying by the lake. Don't help, because it might actually be a dog thing with a grabby tail that only wants my eyeballs. Ancient stranger danger at its finest. Despite its horrifying MO, the Aquazotl earned a place in history, even mentioned in the writings of Spanish friar Bernardino de Sahagún, who documented Aztec lore. This creature is so bizarre that it sticks in your mind, much like it sticks to you with that tail grip. Moral of the story: if you hear a mysterious baby crying near water in the middle of nowhere, sorry kid, you're on your own. It's probably an Aquazotl auditioning for Worst Pet of the Year, and if you do fall victim, well, at least the Aquazotl will leave most of you intact for the funeral. How considerate. From the steamy jungles of the Aztec world, we plunge into the frigid Arctic, where things get real cool and seriously strange. Meet Maha, the Inuit tickle monster from your nightmares, and perhaps your giggle fits. Maha is described as a gaunt, frost-bitten demon with icy blue skin, glassy white eyes, and a permanent, sinister grin. And what does this lanky ice ghoul want? To tickle you to death. No joke, Maha's preferred method of murder is tickling victims with its long claw-like fingers until they literally die of terror and laughter. It sounds like a paradox, a killing that's equal parts ha-ha and horror. But imagine encountering this mischievous ice demon on a lonely Arctic night. You see a thin figure shuffling towards you, giggling to itself. It tackles you with surprising strength, those bony fingers digging into your ribs, and begins tickling. At first you might laugh. It is ticklish, but then it doesn't stop. The laughter turns to panic as you realize you can't breathe. Maha's grin widens. It's enjoying this. And your frantic laughter echoes into the polar night until, well, Maha stops when you stop, which is when you've laughed your last breath. As morbid as that is, you have to admit, there's dark humor here. A demon whose evil plan is basically an extreme tickle attack? It's as if a prankster. Ghost decided to take things way too far. Inuit elders described Maha as thin and blue with a crazed laugh, leaving its victims with a twisted smile frozen on their dead faces. That's the calling card of a Maha hit, a final grin. Thankfully, legends also say Maha is not too bright. In one tale, a quick-thinking Inuit hunter escaped by tricking the fiend into leaning over a waterhole, and gave it a good kick, sending Maha splashing into the frigid sea. So much for laughter being the best medicine. Among all the world's Zanbolf monsters, Maha stands out for its wickedly funny MO. It's the absolute last way you'd expect to go, tickled into oblivion. Next time someone playfully pokes your side, maybe jump a little. You never know if they're channeling this Arctic giggler. Maha reminds us that not all nightmares are born of fangs and fury. Some just want to have a laugh at your expense. After that Arctic chill, let's warm up with a tropical party in the Amazon. Meet the Encantado, the life of the party. And by life, we mean a literal river dolphin, twixt, in disguise. Yes, in Amazonian folklore, the Encantado is a shape-shifting boto, river dolphin, that turns into a handsome human whenever the Amazon River has a full moon party going on. By day, it's flippering around eating fish. By night, it's sneaking onto the riverbank dressed to the nines, usually sporting a dapper hat, to hide its dolphin blowhole, of course. If that isn't weirdly charming, I don't know what is. Encantados are known to be excellent musicians and dancers, often showing up at festivals to woo the locals with their hypnotic flute playing and smooth moves. Picture a carnival night, music pumping, people dancing, and this mysterious stranger with slightly too perfect teeth twirls you around. He's courteous, never takes off his hat, and has a certain aura about him. Maybe it's the faint scent of river water. Next, thing you know, some young ladies and even a few lads go missing into the river, allegedly swept away by lovesick dolphins. In fact, legends say These dolphin Casanovas sometimes impregnate women during their nocturnal adventures, then slip back into the water by sunrise, leaving the villagers scratching their heads, and likely explaining a few unexpected pregnancies with, it must have been the dolphin spirit. It's hard not to love the sheer whimsy of the Encantado. On the one hand, it's a bit creepy. Imagine discovering your boyfriend is literally Flipper. On the other hand, he did play a mean flute solo and dance like Fred Astaire. Encantados can also be a tad mischievous or even dangerous, whisking people away to mystical underwater cities, never to return. Yikes. But many Amazon communities view them as more playful than malevolent. They're even blamed when someone drowns or disappears. Oh, that Juan? Probably ran off to live with the river dolphins. Convenient, eh? So next time you're at a riverside fiesta and a dreamy stranger invites you for a moonlit canoe ride, maybe sneak a peek under that hat. If you spot a blowhole, or maybe a suspiciously smooth forehead, you might be dancing with an Encantado. And unless you're ready for a wild swim and a possible new dolphin family, it might be wise to say, thanks for the dance, but I've got 2 left feet on dry land. Sliding into number 3 on our weirdness parade, the Bukavac from Serbian folklore is here to make some noise, literally. The name Bukavac comes from buka, meaning noise, and boy does this creature live up to it. Descriptions vary, but it's often imagined as a 6-legged horned demon that lurks in lakes and swamps. 6 legs, you ask? Apparently yes. 2 legs to run, 2 to hop, and 2 as spares. Who knows? With twisted horns and bulging eyes, the Bukavac isn't winning any beauty pageants. But its signature move is making deafening, earth-shaking sounds at night. Think of the loudest bullfrog you've ever heard, then give it a megaphone and a subwoofer. That's our pal, the Bukavac. According to legends from the Sirmia region, this aquatic oddball emerges after dark with a thunderous bellow. If any person or animal wanders too close to its swampy turf, the Bukavac will leap out and strangle them with its coiling gangly limbs. It's like a murderous amphibian WWE wrestler performing a top rope choke slam. One moment, you're minding your business by the water. The next, a cacophonous croak blasts your ears, and a tangle of legs and horns drags you into the murk. Remind me not to go night fishing in Serbia anytime soon. Despite its lethal nature, there's something almost comical about this loud, leggy bog monster. 6 legs seems like overkill. Maybe the Bukavac just couldn't decide if it was a horse, a crab, or a frog, so it went with all of the above. And that noise! Perhaps Mr. Bukavac just wants to form a band and nobody else in the swamp has the talent. I mean, if I had 6 legs, I could play 2 drum sets at once. Why not become a one-demon band? There's also a theory that Bukavac's roar is just to scare people away from dangerous waters, a folklore way of saying, don't swim here at night. If so, consider the message received. The Bukavac secures its spot in our top 3 for being a freaky chimera of features. Part frog, part demon, part noise machine. It's the kind of thing that makes you say, I beg your 6-legged pardon. If you're ever in the Balkans and hear an unholy racket echoing from a lake at midnight, best to cover your ears and watch your back. The noisy neighbor from hell might just be looking for a hug. A very tight, very final hug. Our runner-up is proof that Japanese folklore has a yokai, spirit, for absolutely everything. At number 2, give a big round of applause, or perhaps a cheeky wink, to the Shereimi, which literally means but eye. You can probably guess where this is going. And yes, it's exactly that. A ghostly creature with a huge, shining eye in its anus. No, we're not making this up. According to an old tale, a samurai was walking at night when a strange man approached him. Before the warrior could ask what he wanted, the stranger stripped nude and bent over, revealing a bright, blinking eye where the sun don't shine. The samurai, brave in battle but utterly flabbergasted by this full moon surprise, did the sensible thing and ran for his life. The Shereimi doesn't actually harm anyone, aside from maybe temporarily blinding you with its high beam hiney. It loves startling people for a good laugh, and then bounds off into the night, presumably to find its next unsuspecting audience. Imagine the story that Samurai told his buddies. I faced armies, dragons, Oni, but I was not prepared for the old but-I trick. One can only hope his friends didn't give him too much crap, pun intended. The Shereimi is often depicted with no facial features at all. It doesn't need eyes on its face when it's got one where it counts, right? Instead, all its expressive power is concentrated in that single gleaming rear eye, which is said to shine like lightning. Frankly, that's a talent and a party trick. As absurd as the Shereimi is, it's kind of endearing in a twisted way. It's not malicious. It doesn't bite, steal, or kidnap. It just wants to make you jump out of your sandals and maybe drop your sushi in shock. It's like the ultimate mooning prank, elevated to folkloric art. You can almost imagine the East Set's Shereimi hanging out with other prankster yokai, swapping tips on how to get the biggest screams. So, I flashed a samurai last night. Classic, he'll never live it down. The next time someone tells you to watch out for ghosts, remember, it might not be a creepy face you need to look for. It might be an eyeball, where an eyeball has no business being. And if you do encounter a polite stranger asking if you have a moment at midnight in Kyoto, maybe just keep walking. Unless you want an eye-opening experience. In the grand pantheon of weird, the Shereimi truly stands, or bends, alone. And we're giving it a winking ovation for that. And now, the crown for weirdest of the weird goes to the Nasnes, a creature from Arabian folklore that looks like the result of a bad magic trick. Why? Because the Nasnes is basically half a person, literally split vertically into one half of a body. Descriptions say it has half a head, half a torso, one arm, and one leg, hopping around on that single leg with shocking speed. Imagine a person cut down the middle, come to life and bounding after you in leaps and bounces. It's the ultimate half-off sale, and trust us, no one's buying. The Nasnes isn't just an anatomical oddity, it's also deadly. In some tales, one touch from this half-goblin is enough to kill a person instantly. Yep, death by high five apparently. In others, it straight up chases and bludgeons you with that one arm, or even spits some kind of venom. One medieval account claimed the Nasnes could suck the life out of you in seconds. Maybe because it really wants your other half to complete itself. According to lore, the Nasnes was born from the union of a demon, a type of jinn called a shik, and a human. The result, a half-formed monstrosity with ghoulish agility. It can even have a bat-like wing on one side, giving it an extra boost in its lopsided pursuits. As if hopping at you with one leg wasn't unfair enough, it might fly in circles too. There's something both terrifying and darkly funny about watching a one-legged, one-armed creature playing lethal hopscotch. On one hand, you want to scream. On the other, part of you is like, is this really happening? Am I being chased by half of a dude? The Nasnes has zero chill. It never talks, lacking half its vocal cords supposedly, so it won't even banter while it hunts you. All you might hear is a creepy half-laugh or a weird hop-thump in the desert night. If you ever saw the Monty Python sketch of the Black Knight, 'tis but a scratch. The Nasnes is like the horrific folktale version. No limbs to spare, but still coming at you. It's hard to top a monster that's only half there, yet manages to be twice as frightening as most. The Nasnes is a champion of strangeness, an amalgam of missing pieces that doesn't let a little thing like missing half a body slow it down. And that commitment to creepiness is why we're naming the Nasnes the weirdest mythological creature on our list. So if you're ever in the Arabian deserts and hear the sound of a pogo stick behind you, run. Because if you get caught by this half-human horror, you'll quickly understand that sometimes having 50% of a monster still amounts to 100% nightmare. There you have it, 10 of the weirdest mythological creatures from cultures around. The world that you may never have heard of until now. These bizarre beings show just how limitless human imagination can be. from the chilling and macabre to the downright goofy. Every culture has its tales of the unknown, and hidden among them are these wondrously absurd oddballs that make us gasp and giggle in equal measure. We hope you've enjoyed this offbeat journey through global folklore's funhouse. Perhaps you learned something new, or at least got a good laugh, or shiver, out of it. Until next time, keep your garlic close, your hats on, and your eyes peeled. You never know what might be watching you from the dark. See you in the next adventure.